that Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
Going to be at the Tundra Trio. And Smalls, this time of year, it's hard to decipher what's real from what's smoke. Everybody is misleading in their commentary. They're trying to throw people off the scent of the players that they're looking for and the things that they want to do with the upcoming draft. And so right now we're going to play a little game of Don't Do It. Because every single year, every single draft, there are always teams that make that mistake. And in real time, everybody in the fan base knows that was a bad decision. Case in point, my New York Giants in 2019 decided to take Daniel Jones with the top 10 pick. And I remember the headline from that draft. The New York Giants take a quarterback that looks like he would have played Eli Manning's brother in a movie about Peyton Manning. That was the headline. That was the headline. That was an absolute embarrassment. But anyway, we're talking about the teams that shouldn't do things. And of course, we have to kick this off with the Dallas Cowboys. The rumor mill around the Dallas Cowboys is that they're looking for a wide receiver that can be dynamic opposite of CeeDee Lamb in the first round, 12th overall pick. Your thoughts on the Dallas Cowboys? Should they take a wide receiver, or is this another one of those moments where you're telling the team, don't do it?
Part of me really loves the idea of them grabbing another option for Dak Prescott. We talk about it all the time. You say, what's the Dallas Cowboys' identity? It's Dak to CeeDee Lamb, period.
That's it.
That's it.
Full stop.
So giving him optionality, I think, is a very smart move. I don't know if they should do it with their first-round pick because they need help on the defensive side of the ball, too.
Yes.
They definitely need to – I would love to see them add a corner because they have some vulnerability there. They also need a running back, which I don't think they should do in the first round. But I don't know, CeCe, part of me thinks that it won't be a don't do it scenario if they get a wide receiver in the first round, namely Matthew Golden.
Well, the Dallas Cowboys in the past have operated with fortifying the offensive and defensive lines. They don't usually go after the shiny toy, although we have had a moment. CeeDee Lamb was a first-round pick. Ezekiel Elliott, once upon a time, was a top-5 pick. But the Dallas Cowboys have to understand that the game is won and lost in the trenches. You build your football team front to back, inside out, and they were the beneficiaries of that over the last decade or so, being able to play competitive football, being able to have 3 consecutive 12-win seasons. You did that because you had strong play on the offensive and defensive line. Well, those 2 units took a hit this year. Zach Martin retired. Tank Lawrence is playing for the Seattle Seahawks. DeMarvion Overshown got injured late last year. His knee folded up. He's expected back at some point this year, but it won't be week 1. You need to address your front 7 on defense. You need to address your offensive line. I mean, listen, Tyler Smith is a stud, but outside of that, you really don't have a whole lot else that you can hang your hat on. I mean, Tyler Guyton, we'll see. You put a first-round draft pick in him a year ago, hasn't necessarily given you the return on investment that you're looking for. So I think the Dallas Cowboys would be better served using that draft capital, the number 12 overall pick, to address the line of scrimmage as opposed to the wide receiver position. As great as I think Ted McMillan and Matthew Golden are and what they project to be as pros, I would love the Dallas Cowboys to look at the offensive line and the defensive line. To me, that's where they need to be trending.
So you're screaming, don't do it. Don't take a wide receiver.
Do it, Cowboys.
Even though it's an area of need.
Don't do it. It's an area of need, but just don't do it because let's be clear about one thing. The Dallas Cowboys aren't a wide receiver away from competing for the NFC East title.
That's a good point.
They're not a wide receiver away from being a playoff caliber squad.
Be smart.
They need players, not just one player. And so I think that you have to take a long-range approach with how you use the 12 overall pick. Next up, we got the Chicago Bears, Smalls.
The Chicago Bears?
The ultimate don't-do-it team. The ultimate don't. I mean, anytime the Chicago Bears are going somewhere to draft pick, you're like, oh, my gosh, is this going to work out? Are they going to get the most out of it? I mean, they took a linebacker in the first round, and the guy ended up being an all-pro. They got rid of him. Like, it's just because they didn't want to pay him. The Chicago Bears, the ultimate don't-do-it team. But I think the Chicago Bears over the last couple of years have hit on some first-round draft picks, right? You had Darnell Wright a couple of years ago. He slotted in nicely at right tackle. Last year, you had Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze, both top 10 picks. They've done well. This will be the Chicago Bears' 4th top 10 pick in the last 3 drafts. So the question is, can the Chicago Bears avoid screwing it up?
They can.
Can the Chicago Bears avoid screwing it up?
They can, and I think that they should apply the logic that you just gave to the Dallas Cowboys to themselves. Focus on the lines. focus on the Lions. Don't get too cute with this pick, because when we say don't do it to the Bears, are you going to screw this up? Normally we're talking about the quarterback. We're thinking of Justin Fields. We're thinking of Mitchell Trubisky. But it seems like Caleb Williams is going to be the guy. And with Ben Johnson as their new head coach, hopefully he is the one that's going to extract the best out of him. But when I think about the Bears and how they proceed forward, making Caleb Williams into the star they hope he's going to be, he's got to be protected. The guy was sacked more than anybody last year. He took a beating. Make sure that he is in the best position to succeed. And first and foremost, you got to protect the guy.
Yeah, you got to protect Caleb Williams. But in this effort to put more around the quarterback that you put the number 1 pick in, you can't ignore the defensive side of the ball. The Chicago Bears are the only team in the NFL that didn't select a defensive player in the first round from 2019 through 2024.
2019 through 2024.
It's a long time not taking a defensive player in the first round, especially for an organization that has prided itself on being able to play defense. And I know there's been this concerted effort to bring them up to modern times, but at some point, you have to bring in more playmakers. Now, they got Montez Sweat in the trade. They invested a premium pick in that. I think it was a second rounder. They got Jalen Johnson. They've got some playmakers on that side of the ball, but you always have to restock the cupboard. You've always got to make sure that you invest equally on both sides of the ball in terms of cap space and draft capital. And the Chicago Bears have seemed so focused on making sure you get Caleb Williams on the right track. You don't want them to ignore the defensive side of the ball. Remember, they got an offensive-minded head coach. You know, they made all of these impressive trades to fortify the offensive line. They went out and aggressively signed Chris Dahlman in free agency to play center. You feel good about the elements that the Chicago Bears are putting around Caleb Williams. But a young quarterback's best friend, it's not a running game. It's not a wide receiver. It is a defense that can create field position in extra possessions. And so knowing that they're turning the page from Matt Eberflus, a defensive-minded coach, you don't want the Chicago Bears to lose track of defense. All right, Smalls, last one. Pittsburgh Steelers.
Ooh.
The narrative around them in the draft is they've got to take a quarterback with the first-round pick. They're at number 21 overall. Pittsburgh Steelers. Should they take a quarterback at number 21, or is this a don't-do-it scenario?
So I'm screaming don't do it at the Pittsburgh Steelers when it comes to quarterback, but it's not taking one with that 21st pick. I'm screaming don't do it when it comes to Aaron Rodgers.
Ooh.
I know right now he seems like the most viable option, but have we gotten any indication that he wants to be there?
No.
This is a quarterback in his 40s who made the New York Jets markedly worse in his tenure there. It wasn't good at the end of Green Bay. I know that he's a 4-time MVP. I know he's a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah.
But this has disaster written all over it as far as I'm concerned. Even the way that this is played out so far in the offseason.
With the air quotes.
Because nothing's really materialized yet. The way this is played out so far this offseason just screams, don't do it. What are you doing? You're getting away from what historically has made you great, which is stability, which is calming the waters. And you're inviting in something that's bringing the complete opposite. If I'm Pittsburgh, I'm thinking to myself, you know what? We've waited long enough. If you don't want to be here, we're going to go ahead and plan for the future, because they're going to have to do that anyway when it comes to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I don't know that there's a world that exists where the Pittsburgh Steelers can go into next week's draft not having clarity on the Aaron Rodgers situation and pass on taking a quarterback. So when it comes to don't do it, I guess my point would be don't wait on Aaron Rodgers. If you got a quarterback that you like in the first round, draft him, because you don't know what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. So there it is. That's the first installment of the Don't Do It teams, but best believe there's a lot more of where that came from in terms of teams that were screaming, don't do it when it comes to next week's draft. Coming up, can we actually see a veteran player on the move during next week's draft? We'll have the answer for you. It's Canty and Michelle on Sportsmanlike.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục hướng dẫn các bạn là vào vòng hôm nay của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là đồng phục. Mọi người, hôm nay vòng của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là cổ trang. Bây giờ mình bắt đầu làm nhé nhá. Này mới được chơi, điện thoại này mới được chơi. Đầu tiên là màu cam. Như đâu ra cái sạc cam này nè. Ui, anh lại thế nhưng mà anh lại dùng cái sạc đó